we're going to read about is the historic program of the FSLN. Let's start with page 13. The historic program of the FSLN. This document was first presented to the Nicaraguan people in 1969. It was reprinted by the FSLN Department of Propaganda and Political Education in June 1981. This translation from that edition is by Will Reisner. That's the little introduction there. Here we go. The Sandinista National Liberation Front, FSLN, arose out of the Nicaraguan people's need to have a vanguard organization capable of taking political power through direct struggle against its enemies and establishing a social system, that wipes out the exploitation and poverty that our people have been subjected to in past history. The FSLN is a politico-military organization whose strategic objective is to take political power by destroying the military and bureaucratic apparatus of the dictatorship and to establish a revolutionary government based on the worker-peasant alliance and the convergence of all the patriotic, anti-imperialist, and anti-oligarch forces in the country. The people of Nicaragua suffer under subjugation to a reactionary and fascist clique imposed by Yankee imperialism in 1932, the year Anastasio Somoza Garcia was named commander-in-chief of the so-called National Guard, GN. The Somoza's clique has reduced Nicaragua to the status of a neo-colony exploited by the Yankee monopolies and the country's oligarch groups. The present regime is politically unpopular and jurisdictionally illegal. The recognition and aid it gets from the North Americans is irrefutable proof of foreign interference in the affairs of Nicaragua. The FSLN has seriously and with great responsibility analyzed the national reality and has resolved to confront the dictatorship with arms in hand. We have concluded that the triumph of the Sandinista People's Revolution and the overthrow of the regime that is an enemy of the people will take place through the development of a hard-fought and prolonged people's war. Sorry, I was about to yawn. Whatever maneuvers and resources Yankee imperialism deploys, the Somoza's dictatorship is condemned to total failure in the face of the rapid advance and development of the People's Forces, headed by the Sandinista Liberation Front. Given this historic conjuncture, the FSLN has worked out this political program with an eye to strengthening and developing our organization, inspiring and stimulating the people of Nicaragua to march forward with the resolve to fight until the dictatorship is overthrown and to resist the intervention of Yankee imperialism in order to forge a free, prosperous, and revolutionary homeland. All right. Just real quick. Cat cam. Real quick, cat cam. Got Cookie Marge on the bed. Anyways, all right. Continue. So, check it out. So, this might sound a little tedious, but the next few pages, it's going to break down their entire Constitution. Excuse me. So, let's go with bullet point number 1. A revolutionary government. The Sandinista People's Revolution will establish a revolutionary government that will eliminate the reactionary structure that arose from rigged elections and military coups. And the people's power will create a Nicaragua that is free of exploitation, oppression, backwardness, a free, progressive, and independent country. The revolutionary government will apply the following measures of a political character. A. It will endow revolutionary power with a structure that allows the full participation of the entire people on the national level as well as the local level, departmental, municipal, neighborhood. B. It will guarantee that all citizens can fully exercise all individual freedoms, and it will respect human rights. C. It will guarantee the free exchange of ideas, which above all leads to vigorously broadening the people's rights and national rights. D. It will guarantee freedom for the worker union movement to organize in the city and countryside, and freedom to organize peasant, youth, student, women's, cultural, sporting, and similar groups. E. It will guarantee the right of immigrant and exiled Nicaraguans to return to their native soil. F. It will guarantee the right to asylum for citizens of other countries who are persecuted for participation in the revolutionary struggle. G. It will severely punish the gangsters who are guilty of persecuting, informing on, abusing, torturing, or murdering revolutionaries and the people. H. Those individuals who occupy high political posts as a result of rigged elections and military coups will be stripped of their political rights. Oh my God. This always happens to me. I start yawning. All right. Next. The revolutionary government will apply the following measures of an economic character. A. It will expropriate the landed estates, factories, companies, buildings, means of transportation, and other wealth usurped by the Somoza family and accumulated through the misappropriation and plunder of the nation's wealth. It will expropriate the landed estates, factories, companies, means of transportation, and other wealth usurped by the politicians and military officers and all other accomplices who have taken advantage of the present regime's administrative corruption. C. It will nationalize the wealth of all the foreign companies that exploit the mineral, forest, maritime, and other kinds of resources. D. It will establish workers' control over the administrative management of the factories and other wealth that are expropriated and nationalized. E. It will centralize the mass transit service. F. It will nationalize the banking system, which will be placed at the exclusive service of the country's economic development. G. It will establish an independent currency. H. It will refuse to honor the loans imposed on the country by the Yankee monopolies or those of any other power. I. It will establish commercial relations with all countries, whatever their system, to benefit the country's economic development. J. It will establish a suitable taxation policy, which will be applied with strict justice. K. It will prohibit usury, USURY. This prohibition will apply to Nicaraguan nationals as well as foreigners. I need to look that up. I don't know what that means. L. It will protect the small and medium-sized owners, producers, merchants, while restricting the excesses that lead to the exploitation of the workers. M. It will establish state control over foreign trade with an eye to diversifying it and making it independent. N. It will rigorously restrict the importation of luxury items. O. It will plan the national economy, putting an end to the anarchy characteristic of the capitalist system of production. An important part of this planning will focus on the industrialization and electrification of the country. That was pretty cool. So I find that pretty fascinating, guys, just learning about how they want to run their country, just getting a different view, because, I mean, I lived in America. I don't even know my own constitution, but it's cool hearing about them. All right, so bullet point number 2, it says, the Agrarian Revolution. The Sandinista People's Revolution will work out an agrarian policy that achieves an authentic agrarian reform, a reform that will, in the immediate term, carry out massive distribution of the land, eliminating the land grabs by the large landlords in favor of the workers, small producers, who labor on the land. I had a double shot espresso for this. I always get sleeping. Okay, A. It will expropriate and eliminate the capitalist and feudal estates. B. It will turn over the land to the peasants, free of charge, in accordance with the principle that the land should belong to those who work it. C. It will carry out a development plan for livestock raising aimed at diversifying and increasing the productivity of that sector. D. It will guarantee the peasants the following rights. 1. Timely and adequate agricultural credit. 2. Marketability, which means a guaranteed market for their production. And number 3, technical assistance. Now we go to E. It will protect the patriotic landowners who collaborate with the guerrilla struggle by paying them for their land holdings that exceed the limit established by the revolutionary government. It will stimulate and encourage the peasants to organize themselves in cooperatives so they can take their destiny into their own hands and directly participate in the development of the country. G. It will abolish the debts the peasantry incur to the landlord in any type of usurer. Usurer? There's that word again. H. It will eliminate the forced idleness that exists for most of the year in the countryside, and it will be attentive to creating sources of jobs for the peasant population. Now, number 3. Bullet point number 3 says, Revolution in culture and education. The Sandinista People's Revolution will establish the basis for the development of the national culture, the people's education, and university reform. A. It will push forward a massive campaign to immediately wipe out illiteracy. B. It will develop the national culture and will root out the neo-colonial penetration in our culture. C. It will rescue the progressive intellectuals and their works that have arisen throughout our history from the neglect in which they have been maintained by the anti-people's regimes. D. It will give attention to the development and progress of education at the various levels: primary, intermediate, technical, university, etc. And education will be free at all levels and obligatory at some. E. It will grant scholarships at various levels of education to students who have limited economic resources. The scholarships will include housing, food, clothing, books, and transportation. It will train more and better teachers who have the scientific knowledge that the present era requires to satisfy the needs of our entire student population. G. It will nationalize the centers of private education that have been immorally turned into industries by merchants who hypocritically invoke religious principles. H. It will adapt the teaching programs to the needs of the country. It will apply teaching methods to the scientific and research needs of the country. I. It will carry out a university reform that will include, among other things, the following measures. 1. It will rescue the university from the domination of the exploiting classes so it can serve the real creators and shapers of our culture, the people. University instruction must be oriented around man, around the people. The university must stop being a breeding ground for bureaucratic egotists. Number 2. Eliminate the discrimination in access to university classes suffered by youth from the working class and peasantry. 3. Increase the state budget for the university so there are the economic resources to solve the various problems confronting it. Number 4. Majority student representation on the boards of the faculties, keeping in mind that the student body is the main segment of the university population. 5. Eliminate the neo-colonial penetration of the university, especially the penetration by the North American monopolies through the charity donations of the pseudo-philanthropic foundations. Number 6. Promotion of free, experimental, scientific investigation that must contribute to dealing with national and universal questions. 7. Strengthen the unity of the students, faculty, and investigators with the whole people by perpetuating the selfless example of the students and intellectuals who have offered their lives for the sake of the patriotic ideal. All right, bullet point number 4. Labor, legislation, and Social Security. The Sandinista People's Revolution will eliminate the injustices of the living and working conditions suffered by the working class under the brutal exploitation and will institute labor legislation and social assistance. A. It will enact a labor code that will regulate, among other things, the following rights. Number 1. It will adopt the principle that, quote, those who don't work don't eat, end quote. Of course, making exceptions for those who are unable to participate in the process of production due to age, children and old people. medical condition, or other reasons beyond their control. Strict enforcement of the 8-hour workday, that's number 2. Number 3, the income of the workers, wages and other benefits, must be sufficient to satisfy their daily needs. Number 4, respect for the dignity of the worker, prohibiting and punishing unjust treatment of workers in the course of their labor. Number 5, abolition of unjustified firings. 6, obligation to pay wages in the period required by law. 7, right of all workers to periodic vacations. That's cool. Now we're on B. It will eliminate the scourge of unemployment. C, it will extend the scope of the Social Security system to all the workers and public employees in the country. The scope will include coverage for illness, physical incapacity, and retirement. D, it will provide free medical assistance to the entire population. It will set up clinics and hospitals throughout the national territory. E, it will undertake massive campaigns to eradicate endemic illnesses and prevent epidemics. F, it will carry out urban reform, which will provide each family with adequate shelter. It will put an end to profiteering speculation in urban land, which subdivisions, urban construction, rental housing, that exploits the need that working families in the cities have for an adequate roof over their heads in order to live. G, it will initiate and expand the construction of adequate housing for the peasant population. H, it will reduce the charges for water, light, sewers, urban beautification. It will apply programs to extend all these services to the entire urban and rural population. I, it will encourage participation in all sports types and categories. And J, it will eliminate the humiliation of begging by putting the above-mentioned measures into practice. That's really neat. So, bullet point 5, administrative honesty. The Sandinista People's Revolution will root out administrative governmental corruption and will establish strict administrative honesty. A, it will abolish the criminal vice industry, prostitution, gambling, drug use, etc., which the privileged sector of the National Guard and the foreign parasites exploit. B, it will establish strict control over the collection of taxes to prevent government functionaries from profiting, putting an end to the normal practice of the present regime's official agencies. C, it will end the arbitrary actions of the members of the GN who plunder the population through the subterfuge of local taxes. D, it will put an end to the situation wherein military commanders appropriate the budget that is supposed to go to take care of common prisoners, and it will establish centers designed to rehabilitate these wrongdoers. E, it will abolish the smuggling that is practiced on a large scale by the gang of politicians, officers, and foreigners who are the regime's accomplices. F, it will severely punish persons who engage in crimes against administrative honesty, embezzlement, smuggling, trafficking in vices, etc., using great severity when it involves elements active in the revolutionary movement. Now, on to number 6. Reincorporation of the Atlantic coast. The Sandinista People's Revolution will be put into practice a special plan for the Atlantic coast, which has been abandoned to total neglect in order to incorporate this area into the nation's life. It will end the unjust exploitation the Atlantic coast has suffered throughout history by the foreign monopolies, especially Yankee imperialism. B, it will prepare suitable lands in the zone for the development of agriculture and ranching. C, it will establish conditions that encourage the development of the fishing and forest industries. D, it will encourage the flourishing of this region's local cultural values, which flow from the specific aspects of its historic tradition. E, it will wipe out the odious discrimination to which the indigenous Miskitos, Sumos, Zambos, and blacks of this region are subjected. All right, bullet point number 7. Emancipation of women. The Sandinista People's Revolution will abolish the odious discrimination that women have been subjected to compared to men. It will establish economic, political, and cultural equality between woman and man. A, it will pay special attention to the mother and child. B. It will eliminate prostitution and other social vices, through which the dignity of women will be raised. C. It will put an end to the system of servitude that women suffer, which is reflected in the tragedy of the abandoned working mother. D. It will establish for children born out of wedlock the right to equal protection by the revolutionary institutions. E. It will establish daycare centers for the care and attention of the children of working women. F. It will establish a 2-month maternity leave before and after birth for women who work. G. It will raise women's political, cultural, and vocational levels through their participation in the revolutionary process. Bullet point number 8. Respect for religious beliefs. The Sandinista People's Revolution will guarantee the population of believers the freedom to profess any religion. A. It will respect the right of citizens to profess and practice any religious belief. B. It will support the work of priests and other religious figures who defend the working people. Bullet point number 9. Independent foreign policy. The Sandinista People's Revolution will eliminate the foreign policy of submission to Yankee imperialism. It will establish a patriotic foreign policy of absolute national independence and one that is for authentic universal peace. It will put an It will put an end to the Yankee interference in the internal problems of Nicaragua. It will practice a policy of mutual respect with other countries and fraternal collaboration between peoples. B. It will expel the Yankee military mission, the so-called Peace Corps spies in the guise of technicians, and military and similar political elements who constitute a barefaced intervention in the country. C. It will accept economic and technical aid from any country, but always and only when this does not involve political compromises. D. Together with other peoples of the world, it will promote a campaign in favor of authentic universal peace. E. It will abrogate all treaties signed with any foreign power that damage national sovereignty. Bullet point number 10. Central American People's Unity. The Sandinista People's Revolution is for the true union of the Central American peoples in a single country. A. It will support authentic unity with the fraternal peoples of Central America. This unity will lead the way to coordinating the efforts to achieve national liberation and establish a new system without imperialist domination or national betrayal. Oh my God. B. It will eliminate the so-called integration, whose aim is to increase Central America's submission to the North America monopolies and the local reactionary forces. All right. Bullet point 11. Sorry, my forearm hurts like right here. Ow. Bullet point 11. Solidarity among peoples. The Sandinista People's Revolution will put an end to the use of the national territory as a base for Yankee aggression against other fraternal peoples and will put into practice militant solidarity with fraternal peoples fighting for their liberation. A. It will actively support the struggle of the peoples of Asia, Africa, and Latin America against the new and old colonialism and against the common enemy, Yankee imperialism. B. It will support the struggle of the black people and all the people of the United States for an authentic democracy and equal rights. C. It will support the struggle of all peoples against the establishment of Yankee military bases in foreign countries. Bullet point 12. People's Patriotic Army. The Sandinista People's Revolution will abolish the armed force called the National Guard, which is an enemy of the people. It will create a patriotic, revolutionary, and people's army. It will abolish the National Guard. Okay, this is A. It will abolish the National Guard, a force that is an enemy of the people, created by the North American occupation forces in 1927 to pursue, torture, and murder the Sandinista patriots. B. In the new People's Army, professional soldiers who are members of the old army will be able to play a role providing they have observed the following conduct. Number 1, they have supported the guerrilla struggle. Number 2, They have not participated in murder, plunder, torture, and persecution of the people and the revolutionary activists. 3. They have rebelled against the despotic and dynastic regime of the Somozas. Now we're on C. It will strengthen the new people's army, raising its fighting ability and its tactical and technical level. D. It will inculcate in the consciousness of the members of the People's Army the principle of basing themselves on their own forces in the fulfillment of their duties in the development of all their creative activity. It will deepen the revolutionary ideals of the members of the People's Army with an eye toward strengthening their patriotic spirit and their firm conviction to fight until victory is achieved, overcoming obstacles and correcting errors. It will forge a conscious discipline in the ranks of the People's Army and will encourage the close ties that must exist between the combatants and the people. G. It will establish obligatory military service and will arm the students, workers, and farmers who, organized in people's militias, will defend the rights won against the inevitable attack by the reactionary forces of the country and Yankee imperialism. The final bullet point, 13. Veneration of our martyrs. The Sandinista People's Revolution will maintain eternal gratitude to and in veneration of our homeland's martyrs and will continue the shining example of heroism and selflessness that they have bequeathed to us. A. It will educate the new generations in eternal gratitude and veneration toward those who have fallen in the struggle to make Nicaragua a free homeland. B. It will establish a secondary school to educate the children of our people's martyrs. C. It will inculcate in the entire people the imperishable example of our martyrs, defending the revolutionary idea. Ever onward to victory! Exclamation point. All right. Marco Rubio, or, any war hawk politician in the United States, see these guys as terrorists, They don't sound like terrorists to me, guys.